Welcome back to Fireside Fears. If you enjoy chilling, immersive horror stories told in the dark, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Now, let the fire crackle, let the night settle in, and let's begin. The door that opened itself. My family used to own a small cabin deep in the woods of northern Maine. It wasn't fancy, just old timber, a tin roof, and a creaking front porch, but it meant everything to us. We went there every summer from the time I was 10 until I was 16. I thought I knew every inch of that place, every tree, every trail, every sound the forest made at night. But there was one door inside the cabin I never opened, the narrow wooden one at the end of the hallway. No one had ever told me not to touch it. No one warned me. It wasn't locked or boarded up. It just existed, unremarkable, unused. My parents told me it was a dry storage crawl space, and I never questioned it. But the door bothered me. Even before anything happened, it felt wrong. The air was always colder near it. Shadows sat heavier there. And sometimes, if I passed by too slowly, I could swear I heard something shift behind it. A slow scrape, like a fingertip dragging across wood. But I ignored it for years. Until the summer, everything changed. It was our last trip to the cabin before it would be sold. I was 16, restless, bored, and frustrated that I'd be spending 2 weeks in a place with no Wi-Fi. My parents wanted one final family bonding experience, but in reality, my dad was repairing old pipes while my mom boxed things up. One night, near midnight, I woke up thirsty. The cabin was silent, except for the forest outside. Wind brushing through trees, an occasional owl, the usual night sounds. When I walked down the hall toward the kitchen, I stopped. The narrow door at the end of the hallway was open. Just an inch. Just enough. I had never seen it open before. I froze. For a full 10 seconds, I didn't breathe. The air coming from the crack in the door was cold, far colder than anywhere else in the cabin. And deeper inside, I could hear movement. Not loud, not aggressive. Slow, almost cautious, like something turning toward me. I backed away, slowly, quietly, and went straight back to bed, squeezing my eyes shut until sleep finally took me. I convinced myself I had imagined it, but the next morning, when I passed the hallway, the door was shut again, completely. I didn't tell my parents. I should have. 2 nights later, it happened again. This time, I didn't see the door open. I heard it. A soft, deliberate creak in the dark, slow enough to make my skin crawl. I sat up in bed and listened. The sound of wood moving against hinges, a gentle click as something brushed the frame. Then silence. But I was sure I heard faint breathing behind it. I couldn't sleep for hours. The next day, I asked my parents if either of them had opened the storage door. Both said no. My dad even tugged at the knob. "Huh," he muttered. "Feels stiff. Probably swells from humidity. It's hard to open." But I had heard it, clear as day. Someone, or something, had opened it effortlessly. The third night is when everything escalated. I woke up to footsteps. Slow, heavy, coming down the hall. But they weren't my parents. I knew their footsteps. These were uneven, dragging slightly, like someone unfamiliar with walking, or like bones grinding with each step. I sat completely still in my bed. My heart hammered so loudly I worried it would give me away. The footsteps stopped outside my bedroom door. Then, a soft tap. Light. Testing, like a knuckle brushing against wood. I didn't make a sound. Eventually, after what felt like minutes, the footsteps resumed, heading back down the hall until fading into silence. At sunrise, I crept out. The house looked completely normal. My parents were asleep, and the narrow door? Closed. But underneath it was a small smear of dirt, fresh, dark, damp, as if someone had tracked in soil from the forest floor. I wanted to pretend it was nothing, but something had walked through that door. The fourth night, I decided I would stay awake and catch whatever was happening. I set an alarm for 1 a.m., sat up in bed, and listened to the old cabin sigh with age. At 1:38 a.m., I heard it, a tiny click, a soft complaint of hinges. The door was opening again. I stepped out of bed and crept to the hallway. The dim moonlight coming through the side window made everything look washed out and eerie. The narrow door stood open, not just a crack this time, but a few inches. Enough to see inside. Inside was blackness. Not normal darkness, absorbing darkness. So thick it looked like the light from the hall bent around it. Then the sound started. Slow, wet, breathing, wrong. I took one step backward, and something inside the darkness took one step forward. A hand appeared, long, thin fingers wrapped around the edge of the doorframe. The nails scraped wood, leaving faint, fresh grooves. I ran. I slammed my bedroom door, leaned against it, and held my breath. For a minute, nothing happened. Then, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, approaching my door. A pause. Then, a soft whisper through the crack at the floor. "I've been waiting." The voice didn't sound human. It sounded like dry leaves being crushed under snow, sickly, hungry. I stayed awake until dawn. When the morning finally came, I begged my parents to leave early. They argued at first. They had work to finish, boxes to pack, but the terror in my voice convinced them. As we loaded the car, I walked past the narrow door for what I hoped would be the last time. It was open. Wide open. Something inside the darkness shifted back, retreating as though it knew I was leaving. But as I turned away, I heard it whisper one last thing. "Next time, I won't wait so long." We left the cabin behind. It was sold 2 weeks later. But that night, in my own bedroom, back home, far from the woods, far from the cabin, far from that cursed door, I heard my closet door click open. Slow, soft, welcoming. The fire's burning low now. If you enjoyed the story, stay close. There are many more to tell. Until next time, sleep with one eye open. You're never truly alone when you're near the fire.